Alright, guys, I want to tell you something. So, I'm a little disappointed because I was supposed to be making, yesterday, I was supposed to be making a video of my goals for school, but I didn't make it. But, it's, yeah. Yeah, I am mad at myself, and I am disappointed that I didn't make a video yesterday about my goals for school. But today I'm going to do something new. So this is going to be a video of my imaginary friend interviewing me. Alright, let's begin. Alright, Anthony. So, today we're doing an interview. So I'm going to be asking you a few questions, alright? Alright, Cesar. Alright, so Anthony. So what are your goals for school? Alright, my goals for school are to make good choices, be respectful, follow directions, be a serious student, and I'm going to try not to receive too many prompts or reminders. Like today in social studies, I felt like I received a prompt because when my social studies teacher did something for me that was nice, when my social studies teacher named Mr. Wood did something for me, my paraprofessional named Mr. F said, "What do you say?" But that's a prompt because that's pretty much a prompt because that's pretty much a teacher reminding you to say thank you. But I feel like I don't need a reminder. I feel like I should just automatically say thank you. That way a teacher won't have to remind me. Because I feel like I don't need to be reminded to do certain things, like say thank you. I don't always need to be reminded to do that because I should be able to say thank you without any prompts or reminders from a paraprofessional or a teacher. Yeah. Alright, now say if we were on an outing. Like if we were in the car, I should be able to put my seatbelt on. And a teacher should not have to prompt or remind me to put my seatbelt on. And a teacher shouldn't have to remind me to have my seatbelt on the correct way. Because having my seatbelt on when I first get in the car and making sure my seatbelt's on the correct way, I should be able to do those two things without a reminder. Yeah, a staff member should not have to remind me. Like if we were on an outing and if we were going on an outing and if the teachers were taking us on outings in a state-owned vehicle, yeah, if I first get in the car, I should be able to put my seatbelt on. And I need to make sure it's on the correct way. Because a teacher shouldn't have to remind me to put my seatbelt on and have it on the correct way. Because having my seatbelt on when I first get in the car and making sure that my seatbelt's on the correct way, I should be able to do those things without an adult having to remind me to do that. Yeah, an adult or a staff member should not have to remind me to do that. Because, yeah, I feel like an adult shouldn't have to remind me to put my seatbelt on. And an adult should not have to remind me to have my seatbelt on the correct way. I should be able to make sure I do those things. Alright. So, well, I need to be reminded to do some things, but some things I don't need to always be reminded. Like, I don't always need to be reminded to thank someone. Because when someone does something nice for me, I need to say thank you. I need to automatically say thank you. That way, maybe a teacher wouldn't have to remind me to. And a teacher wouldn't have to say, "What do you say?" Because I should be able to do that without a reminder. Yeah. Number one, I need to say thank you whenever someone does something nice for me. And I feel like a teacher shouldn't have to remind me to say thank you. Yeah, I feel like I should be able to say thank you when a teacher shouldn't have to remind me. Now, when we're in a car, uh, I need to make sure I put my seatbelt on when I first get in the car, and I need to make sure that my seatbelt's on the correct way. And a teacher shouldn't, so if we were on an outing, if we were going on an outing in a state-owned vehicle, a teacher or a staff member or a paraprofessional should not have to remind me to put my seatbelt on. And they shouldn't have to remind me to have it on the correct way. Because if I do that, then that might be a tally mark. And tally marks aren't good because tally marks are strikes. Yeah. Gonna try not to receive too much reminders or prompts. Now, my other goal for school is to behave. My other goal is to look both ways before crossing the street. So, say if we were on an outing, say if the teachers from autism support took me and my friends on an outing, I need to make sure I look both ways. And a teacher shouldn't have to remind me 4 or 5 times to look both ways before crossing the street. Because that would be unsafe, because I shouldn't have to wait until I'm being prompted or reminded to look both ways before crossing the street. So, I need to look both ways before I cross the street. And I shouldn't have to wait until a teacher reminds me to do it. Because that's not safe. And that's not being safe. Waiting for a teacher to remind you to look both ways before crossing the street. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it would be a good idea if I wait until a teacher reminds me to look both ways before crossing the street. I feel like if I go outside of somewhere, I need to look both ways before crossing the street, and I shouldn't, and I'm not, from now on, if a teacher or a paraprofessional, if a teacher or a paraprofessional takes me on an outing, I'm gonna look both ways before crossing the street, and I'm not gonna wait for a teacher or a paraprofessional to remind me, because that's not being safe. Waiting for a teacher to remind you to look both ways before crossing the street. Gotta do it in the first place. All right. My other goal, so my other goal is to be to class on time. And if I'm late, then it might be excused, because say if a teacher, coming to class late sometimes could be an excuse, but if I was skipping class, that's something different. Like say if my paraprofessional told my exploratory teacher that I'm being to class a little late because I was on an outing and I didn't arrive, and I arrived just now. But say if I was hiding in the stairwell, that's not good, because if you were hiding in the stairwell, then hiding in the stairwell, that's skipping class, and that's not good. Hiding in the stairwell, lollygagging in the bathrooms, lollygagging in the hallways, lollygagging in the stairwells. All right, so if you do things like hide in the stairwell, lollygag, play in the bathroom, wander around in the hallways, go to places where you're not supposed to be. If you do anything to skip class, then you'll end up on something called a no pass list. And if you're on a no pass list, then all right. So if a student is on a no pass list, then the student can't be trusted to go anywhere like the bathroom to no. So if a student is on the no pass list, then a student can't be trusted to go anywhere like the restroom, to get a drink, to the library, to the nurse, to a learning lab, or anywhere in the school building without an adult escort. But yeah, I'm gonna try not to end up being placed on the no pass list this year. So that means no lollygagging in the hallways, no lollygagging in the stairwells, no lollygagging in the bathrooms, hallways, stairwells, none of that. Because, alright, so, what I'm gonna talk about is, alright, so when I was in school, so one day I was in school and I saw some kids in the 7th grade stairwell hanging out. And did I think about joining them? Of course not. Because why would I join some kids that are in the 7th grade stairwell hanging out? Unless if I want to end up on the no pass list again, because it's not a good idea to hang out in the stairwell. Because number one, that's skipping class. And number two, a teacher needs to know where you are in the school building. Yeah, because the reason why if there were some kids in the 7th grade stairwell hanging out, and the reason why I'm not going to join them is because number one, there are 2 security cameras in the 7th grade stairwell. So if a student is playing in the stairwell, hiding in the stairwell, socializing in the stairwell, hanging out in the stairwell, or lollygagging in the stairwell. If a student is lollygagging in the stairwell, then a teacher will be able to see the student because there are 2 security cameras in the 7th grade stairwell. Yeah. All right. Now, what are your goals at home? All right. My number one goal at home. Well, I mean, I complain every day about living in the city. I complain every day about living in the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware. But I'm gonna try to stop doing that, because me complaining every day about living in the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware, me complaining about living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, it's not gonna change anything. Yeah, my goals are to stop complaining about where I live and be grateful for how I live, because I have a house with my own bedroom. I have a house with more than 1 bathrooms. My parent has a car to get around in and to transport in. And I have more than most kids because, yeah, I gotta be grateful for how I live because I have a good life. Yeah, I know I don't like living in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware. And I know that I really don't like living in the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware. But right now, I have to stay in the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware, because moving is a lot of work. And I want to move to somewhere like Pike Creek, Newark, Delaware, Hockessin, Delaware, somewhere like that. But I just don't want to live anywhere in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware. Because I live in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware right now, and I don't like it. and I complain about it every day. And I always talk about that I want to move out of the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware. And I keep complaining and saying that I want to move out of the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware. But, alright, so here's what I need to do. I need to read every day. I need to go to school and get my education. And I need to be a serious student when I'm in school. And I need to do chores, and I need to do anything that's responsible. Because if I focus on doing whatever I want to do and not what I'm supposed to do, then it'll mess me up for getting whatever I want. And I might not get a chance to live where I want to live. And I might have to live where I can afford to live, like where I live right now in the North Brandywine neighborhood or somewhere worse. So I'm gonna focus on doing what I need to do and not, I'm gonna focus on doing what I'm supposed to do and doing what I need to do instead of doing what I want to do. And I'm gonna try my best to stop complaining about where I live and be grateful for how I live. Because even though I live in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, and even though I live in the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware, I still have a great life. I still have it good. Yeah. So I'm going to try my best to stop complaining because if I be grateful and be happy for how I live, then it'll probably be easy for me to move. And I'll probably be out of the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware in no time. But if I keep complaining every day about where I live, then it'll be hard for me to get a better house than the house that I live in right now. And I might have to stay in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware even longer. And I don't want that because I don't even like living here right now, but sometimes I just gotta roll with the flow. Alright. Now my second goal is to do my chores without complaining, because sometimes I give my mother a hard way to go about having to take the trash out. But I gotta stop doing that, because if I take the trash out, help out with the groceries, do my chores, and all that stuff, that'll be considered helping out around the house. So I gotta help out around the house, and I need to insist on helping out around the house. So I need to help out my family with things sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. No, all the time. All the time, I gotta focus on doing what I'm supposed to do and not what I want to do. Yeah, sometimes I just gotta focus on doing what I'm supposed to do over what I want to do. Yeah. Because if I focus on doing what I'm supposed to do over what I want to do, then good things will happen. I'll get on a better reading level. I'll get on a higher reading level. I'll probably make student of the month in school. I'll be able to go on fun field trips in school. I'll be able to live where I want to live, like Pike Creek, Hockessin, or Newark. And yeah, good things will happen. But good things will always happen if I do what I'm supposed to do over what I want to do. So yeah, my goal is to do what I'm supposed to do over what I want to do. Yeah. And another goal of mine is to is to so when I'm in school, I need to do my work, and I shouldn't rush, because today when I was in school, when I was in English class, when it was time for me to be on a website called ULS, I was skipping through. And I was trying to submit my work even though I didn't complete everything. I was rushing. So from now on, I gotta stop doing that, because it was wrong of me to 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 rush and skip through and try to submit my work even though I didn't complete everything. It was wrong of me to do that, because I needed to do my job, and I need to make sure that I got everything finished and got everything completed. But trying to submit work that I didn't actually complete isn't really the right thing to do, because me trying to submit my work even though I didn't actually complete it, that was not a good idea, because I received a tally mark for English class for doing that. And if I receive too much tally marks, then I'll have to owe a few minutes of my cash out time at the end of the school day. And I don't want that to happen. But I only earned one strike. But if I earned two more strikes, then I would have had to owe a few minutes of my free time at the end of the school day. But I only received one strike. But I need to receive 3 strikes to owe a few minutes of my free time at the end of the school day. Yeah. So in order to owe a few minutes of my free time at the end of the school day, I need to receive 3 strikes. But I can't receive more than 2 reminders in any class. Because if I receive more than 2 reminders in any class, then I'll have to owe a few minutes of my free time at the end of the school day. But good thing I didn't have to, because I only got 1 strike. Yeah. So from now on, when I'm in any class, tomorrow when I'm in English class, I'm not going to do the same thing I did today. I'm not going to skip through and rush and submit work that I didn't actually complete, because I got a consequence. I earned a tally mark. But good thing but I was close to earning no tally mark, but I earned one because I didn't make that wasn't a good choice. But yeah, from now on, I'm not going to do the same thing I did today, and I'm not going to try to submit work that I didn't complete and skip through. Yeah, that's my other goal. Now, yeah. Because if I do what I'm supposed to do instead of doing what I want to do, if I focus on doing what I'm supposed to do instead of focusing on doing what I want to do, then I'll be able to have a nice, comfortable life. And I'll be able to get on a high reading level. I'll be able to receive awards in school But that's only if I be good every day. If I be good every day in school, then I'm gonna receive an award. But if I don't be good, then no reward. But I'm gonna be good, so I'm gonna receive awards. And if I focus on doing what I'm supposed to do and not what I want to do, I'll be able to live where I want to live when I grow up. I won't even have to step foot in the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware again. But just in a few years, I might not even remember what the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware looks like. Because I'm gonna be living in the suburbs for a very long time. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm gonna also stop that complaining about where I live and be grateful for how I live, because if I be grateful for how I live, then it'll probably be easy because I'm having positive thoughts, and it might be easy for me, and I'll probably be out of the city limits in no time. But if I complain every day, and if I continue to complain, then it'll mess me up for getting what I want, and and it'll be hard for me to get a better house than the house I live in right now. And it'll be hard for me to get a house that's not in the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware. Yeah. But if I have positive thoughts, then I'll be able to move somewhere that I want to live, like Newark, Hockessin, or Pike Creek. And I won't have to step foot in the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware again. All right. Yeah, Anthony, this was a good interview. Yeah, I think it was a good interview too. All right, guys. This was the interview. So, I'm gonna repeat my goal one more time about home. Sorry, I just like repeating the goal. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna repeat this goal one more time because I just like repeating this goal. I'm gonna do what's necessary over what's desired, which means I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do instead of what I want to do. That way, I'll get on a good reading level. I'll get on the reading level I'm supposed to be on. I'll receive awards for my good behavior. I'll I will I will be able to get things that I like, and I'll be able to live where I want to live in the future. And I won't have to step foot I won't have to step foot in the North Brandywine neighborhood in Wilmington, Delaware again. And I can live where I want to live. And I'm gonna stop complaining about living in the North Brandywine neighborhood, because even though I live in the city limits of Wilmington, Delaware, and even though I live in the North Brandywine neighborhood, I still have a good life. So I'm gonna stop complaining about where I live and be grateful for how I live. That way, it'll be easy for me. All right, guys, I'm gonna end it there. All right, goodbye.